is a member of Kenyan Parliament. She joins us live now from Nairobi. Esther, thank you so much for being with us. It's interesting because there are so many different factors at play, and this issue is extremely layered because on the one hand, Kenya has the lowest amount of female politicians in East Africa. On the other hand, as I just talked about, we've seen a dramatic sort of increase in the number of female politicians, especially since 2017, where you saw more sort of female governors and senators and 29% more sort of women running for political positions compared to previous elections. At the same time, though, despite that positive trend, you're seeing more women candidates endure an extreme amount of violence. Just explain to our audience that disconnect, Esther.
Thank you very much for having me, Zain. First of all, I feel that the reason why women are not able to claim their space, it's not so much because of the violence that we face online or the violence that we face when we go out on the campaign trail. I think it's a question of resources. Women don't have the resources to actually get into the electoral space. You know, they've got the training, they've got the leadership capabilities, but they're up against the men who are already holding these positions, and the men are well resourced. And then when it comes to social media, I think we need as women to develop thick skin. When we get into that space, we need to know that when there is an attack, that the police will act swiftly, and eventually, once the police act swiftly, we will be able to be an example for others. Now, you know, a few years ago, we had the My Dress, My Choice.
Esther, it's not just about women developing thick skin. These sorts of online abuse, these sorts of attacks shouldn't really be happening in the first place. So what should be, two questions for you. One is, obviously, you're a female politician, you're a member of Kenya's parliament. Just walk us through some of the abuse that you have faced yourself and what you think the government in Kenya should be doing to prevent these sorts of attacks, either verbal or otherwise, against women.
Okay, I mean, first of all, of course, the way we dress, and that's why I was going to the My Dress, My Choice. The way we dress has always been a question. I remember once wearing an evening dress that was a bit transparent. And then, of course, on social media, the next morning, there was all these captions going around, a very transparent leader. Okay, so when we had the My Dress, My Choice, where we said men should not determine what we wear and how we dress, and when women were being stripped, the police eventually, after we did all the demonstrations and it got international the coverage, the police was swift to arrest and the people were sentenced. And we, of course, had the sexual gender-based laws that led to the arrest of these perpetrators. So that in itself shows that there is a system to deal with violence against women in the country with the sexual offences laws. But the most important thing that we're facing right now as women is social media. Of course, social media, things can spread very quickly as bushfire. I once was under attack with the governor of Nairobi. He accused me of, he doctored some documentation, some videos and some conversations, and then he made it look like I invited him to my hotel, to my hotel room. And when that happened, I was in Vancouver for Women Deliver conference with the president, and then this was basically happening in Kenya. As I woke up in Vancouver, I saw that I was on social media being discussed for whether I went, I invited the governor to my hotel room. Now that happened because he was actually very disrespectful at a public gathering the day before I left for Vancouver, and I walked out. Now, as I said, I could have sat there and allowed him to demean me in public, but I chose to walk away. And as I walked away, all the youth, of course, knowing that if they jeered me, they would be able to probably get some handouts from the governor at that time. But he's had to pay his own price. You know, he's attacked many women in the past, but today he's out in the cold. And I feel that as women, when something happens in the social space, we need to, the reason I say we have to develop thick skin is because if we don't fight back, if we don't stand for what we believe in, if we don't continue on that path, then what happens is we will be giving in. So a lot of women admire me for having been attacked many times, but still continuing on that path. I started my political career in 2007.
You're saying it's important to sort of You're saying it's important to fight back. Honestly, Esther, I wish we had more time. There's so many things I want to ask you, especially about what the government should be doing and whether all of this is deterring more women from running for office in Kenya. That's an important issue as well. But unfortunately, I am out of time. Hopefully, we can continue this conversation another day. Esther Psaris, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you for watching One World. I'm Zain Asher, African Voice.